Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, hey everybody, this is Dawn from CBD Talk Podcast, and we are here with Chuck Stebbins from CBD Authority. We have had him on the show before, so and by the number of plays that have been on that episode, I know that you've probably already heard quite a bit of great stuff from him. So, Chuck, as you know, is a biochemist, and I understand you were nominated for the Cannabis of the Year. Is that true?
I understand that to be true. That's what I'm told.
That's awesome. That's great. I love it when people are recognized for the great things they do. So, all right, the reason I have you on today is because when we talked last, we had mentioned the problem with opiates and the addiction problem that's very prevalent right now in the U.S. and the overdoses and such. And there have been strides. Well, I don't know if I call them strides, but they're working on cutting people off of opiates, which is a dangerous thing. And with the alternatives out there on the street being heroin, that from people I've talked to, that's a very cheap way of getting relief from opiate withdrawal, but not a great way to do it. So I wanted to talk with Chuck today to get some information on how cannabidiol can help with this process. And so, Chuck, the floor is yours.
Well, you mentioned opiates being a big problem. I mean, there's a brewing problem right now in the street community with a product related to fentanyl, only many times stronger. That product is literally killing neighborhoods of people. It's probably the worst product anybody could take. The product is normally used to treat like a fracture in an elephant or something like that. And people are literally taking the product now individually and dying. If you call up any police force right now, whether it's a sheriff in Florida or whether it's a local police station in New York, and ask them what's the most dangerous drug on the street, and they'll give you this drug. Okay, so it's not just going in and getting, opiates from a pain clinic or from, your physician or whatever, and you're getting hooked and having a problem. I mean, there's really a horrifying problem brewing right now. And it's crazy because that's one end of the spectrum, but then people are even abusing different opiate type products that you would never really think were opiate type products. In other words, there's a common diarrhea product on the market, to help combat diarrhea. Okay. And everybody knows the product, it's available very inexpensively in the store. And, normally, a doctor would tell you to take 2 of them. It's an over-the-counter product. You can buy it in any grocery store or pharmacy. A doctor would tell you to take 2 of those a day and you'll be fine. People are taking 500 of them, and to reach a level of the opioid level necessary to get high, and literally taking 500 once or twice a day. So there's some people are doing 1,000 or more.
Wow.
Of this simple diarrhea medication, and needless to say, you're creating all sorts of havoc in your system when you do that. So yeah. I mean, when people think, if I'm going to go talk to somebody about it, they're thinking about, my doctor, might be writing a prescription for somebody in pain, and then that person gets addicted, and that's a huge problem. I mean, one of the leading causes of relationship meltdown and divorce are opioids. That one of the partners got onto an opioid, And after many years of marriage, they choose the opioid over the marriage. It's just, it shows up in so many insidious ways that it is a huge problem. So you're absolutely right. What can CBD do about it? Obviously CBD is a very strong analgesic if used properly, if you have the right product in the right dose for the right thing. It's very powerful. Can it take the place of an opioid? Yes, absolutely. There's no question in my mind. Myself personally, I'll just give you a personal example since I happen to be sitting here. I don't have to get anybody on the phone to attest to what I can attest to myself. I had a crushed injury 11 years ago where my entire torso was crushed. I broke everything from my back down to my knee, including, pelvis, acetabulum, hips, everything, just totally crushed the right side of my body. Needless to say, there's pain and inflammation as a result of that process. My entire body is strung, inside with what looks like, a chain link fence, all right, instead of my bones. And there was a lot of pain. I mean, it was many months laying in the hospital, immobile, and many more months of recovery. And the pain always persisted. Opiates didn't do anything for the pain. Not that I would addict myself to them anyway, but they didn't really do anything for the pain because all they were doing was treating just the symptomatic portion of the pain, and it really was impossible. The problem was inflammatory. Okay, so I'm too smart to take aspirin or anti-inflammatories over and over again because I know that the likelihood of them, killing or maiming me is high if I take that many of them. So I'm going to stay away from that. And, I was really literally for 10 years, daily pain, no question about it. I found CBD last September, so going back now, roughly maybe 14 months, and it didn't work. No, not at all. Everybody touted this wonderful CBD product, and I took a lot of it, and I took massive amounts of it. It didn't work, didn't do anything. And I realized, maybe I have the wrong product. So I tried another one. It didn't work. And I tried another one. It didn't work. And I was by December, I think, I was pretty down on CBD. But being a scientist, I'm reading the literature, and I'm really understanding the possibilities here. And then I realized what was happening. I was simply taking the wrong product. I was taking, isolates and, products that really actually weren't ever really intended to work for what I needed them to do. And when I found full spectrum, and then I actually solubilized it myself, I found my pain went away. I mean, right now, I can dance if I want. I can run if I want, which is weird. I mean, I couldn't imagine myself running. The other day, I saw a cart heading for, to hit the side of a car, in the grocery store. I just ran across and grabbed it. And it was a natural reaction. But it was weird because I hadn't run in 11 years. My wife looked at me like, whoa, you're running. But I just felt natural to do that. But that's all CBD. But again, the proper CBD, all right, for the proper thing in the proper amount.
Right.
Can CBD take the place of opiates? Not only take the place, but actually improve, the process because you're treating the symptoms of the pain to begin with, the inflammation. Okay, but it's got to be the right product for the right thing in the right amount. Otherwise,
what about? I know that CBD also works with anxiety and things like that. So what about the withdrawal part of it?
Well, it does affect, you get a lot of receptor effects when you're on opiates, GABA receptors, glutamine receptors, dopamine receptors, a lot of receptors. There's a cacophony of changes that occur in your receptors. And it can cause a lot of different things like anxiety and whatnot. On CBD, obviously, although I believe it's a tremendous antibacterial product, I believe it's a tremendous anti-inflammatory product. I think its real main power, and not to diminish the other ones, I just told you a story that's remarkable, but I think its main power is an anti-anxiety.
Okay.
That really, if if we give pure spectrum CBD to horses, a horse doesn't know what's going on. You know, they're not looking for a placebo. You know, horses suffer from racehorses, I'm talking about now. And we've done this with a large number, you know, over 60 racehorses. We've tested in double blind. All right. The trainer didn't know whether they were getting a real oil or they were getting a hemp seed oil without CBD in it. Looks the same, smells the same, tastes the same. And we didn't know, you know, and the effects between the real full spectrum oil and a hemp seed oil are just completely night and day. But the main effect we see in a racehorse right away is anti-anxiety. The horse gets a quiet, calm, focused mental state.
Right.
First thing you see. Then you see the inflammation start coming out of the body. And then you see a huge performance difference on the track. Okay. And it was in between night and day. I mean,
and I want to mention here for people who've never tried CBD, the calm that you're talking about, this is not like please remember that CBD is not THC. This is not a high. This is not an induced state. This is just a lessening of the anxiety, a calming of the body, almost like a meditative type of state.
Exactly.
It's nothing forced on you.
And I mean, two important points right there. Number one, everybody always says CBD is non-psychoactive, okay? That's not necessarily true. That's not accurate. It's anti-psychoactive. Okay, that's a better way of describing it, okay? In the presence of THC, CBD brings down the effects of THC, okay? So, you know, CBD is not only non-psychoactive, it's actually anti-psychoactive. So you're not about to take CBD by itself and feel high or feel, you know, any of the effects you would get from THC. It's just not going to happen. You know, again, that's not what the chemistry of the body does. Okay, point number one. Point number two, you mentioned meditative effects, okay? Again, let's deal with full spectrum oil as compared to an isolate, which is just the CBD molecule extracted from the plant matrix. All right, in its full spectrum state, you have that one cannabinoid, CBD, which is very important, plus maybe another 116, 17 cannabinoids. Okay, we don't really know. The number changes every day as science accelerates, okay? I think when we did our last podcast, there were about 102 or 103 known cannabinoids. Now there's 118. Okay, so in a couple months, you know, there's probably hundreds, and we'll find that out in a year or two, okay? But, you know, in addition to that, you have a bunch of other really neat compounds in there, you know, what we call in chemistry terpenophenola compounds, okay? There's probably 1,000. We know 500, okay? But of those 500, we know 200 of them are terpenes, all right? And those terpenes are very powerful in and of themselves, okay? The terpenes themselves that are in the full spectrum CBD oil, they will create a meditative state in the body, even if CBD wasn't present.
Nice.
So, you know, knowing, I mean, I'm a terpene chemist, so we can pull terpenes either out of CBD or out of nature, all right? CBD oil, the full spectrum hemp oil, has maybe 200 terpenes. Nature has 50,000, all right? So I can go outside hemp to nature if I want, and I can create the exact same functional MRI picture of your brain, all right, with terpenes in 15 to 30 seconds as somebody else would get doing meditation after practicing for 10, 20 years.
Nice.
So the reality is meditation is real. It creates a lot of very significant brain changes. When a person is meditating, we could watch it on a screen and we could see the brain go from point A to point B. All right, the brain on quiet meditative state, different areas light up. The brain looks completely different. All right, the same way someone else can tell the difference between a car and a truck. All right, somebody who's used to reading functional MRIs can tell the difference between an excited brain and a meditative brain, okay, or an average brain and a meditative brain. All right, it's very simple. The same thing as you see in a pickup and known as a truck. All right, well, when that picture shows up and we say, wow, that person has been practicing meditation for 5, 10, 20 years, they really have a super focused, quiet, meditative state brain. I can say, great, now look at this other person who's never meditated in their life. I'm going to let him I'm going to let them whiff terpenes for 15 to 30 seconds. That brain changes into a quiet meditative state, okay?
Right.
So the CBD oil that we're talking about, the full spectrum hemp oil, it's not just the CBD that helps create an anti-anxiety effect. It's not just the other cannabinoids in there, but the terpenes by themselves are maybe even more powerful.
Right. So if someone is coming off of an opiate and is thinking about trying CBD, this is not something that they have to worry about getting addicted to. It's not something that something that comes over them. This is a natural product that just it's not an addictive product. I mean, you may get addicted to not having pain and not feeling anxious, but it's not the product that you're getting into.
No, there's no addictive potential of CBD whatsoever, and there's no harm. We normally, if somebody's coming off opiates, I would actually recommend maybe as many as 100 milligrams, of CBD a day. Okay. And that's a high dose for an average person, right? A person in pain or anxiety might take 25 to 50. All right. 100 milligrams is a large dose, but there are cancer patients out there, with brain tumors that are aggressive, et cetera, that find their functional dosage, the dosage that really helps them be able to sit up in bed and watch TV and move around and get up versus laying there like a vegetable, is 2 to 3 grams, which would be 2,000 to 3,000 milligrams a day of CBD. The only thing that's going to hurt is your pocketbook, all right? Yeah. Because it's expensive, but it's not going to hurt your physiology, your chemistry, et cetera. So we do have plenty of experience with people on mega doses, okay? And those people, their health recovers as compared to gets worse. So there's no lethal dose, so to speak, that's real, that's functional with CBD, when it's taken its full spectrum state, not even in its isolate state, but I would just say that it's far better, more healthy to take the full spectrum product. And we know that by science. It's not just my opinion. We know that by science. But you also probably want to take a soluble form of this as well, if possible. Water soluble form, if possible.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just thinking that there are a lot of people who can definitely benefit from this. If you had just a quick something to say to them about their anxiety when it comes to coming off of something that has kind of had a hold of them for so long and trying something new. We talked about it's not addictive. We talked about there's not a lethal amount to take. Is there anything else that you can do to give them a little peace of mind? Because there's a lot of fear when it comes to addiction and what it's going to be like to get off of it and things like that. And I understand that people would or might choose something that mimics what they're already taking because they're afraid of not, like you said. I mean, you've got relationships, marriages where someone has chosen it over another, but they want to get off of it. Is there just anything else that you might want to add for this?
Yeah, Dawn, absolutely, because it's not just opiate addictions, all right? And, any of you out there who may be on an opiate right now and want to get off, I'm going to ask you to forget for a second that that this is your problem, okay? And think about another group of people who are addicted. And I want to point this out because it's going to help you in a way. There's addictions to a lot of different pills out there. Right now, one of the scariest addictions that exist out there, in my opinion, is Nexium. All right. It's a happy purple pill, right? Everybody wants a happy purple pill. Okay. It's the 5th most prescribed pill in the world. Okay. Wow. Yet you can still walk into any grocery store or pharmacy and get it over the counter at half strength. So in addition to it being available over the counter at half strength, it's still the 5th most prescribed medication, in the world. Okay, now that means there's a lot of people. All right. If you got 25 million scripts being written a month, plus every Tom, Dick, and Harry and Mary walking into a pharmacy or grocery store and picking up that happy purple pill, to help heartburn, to help reflux or whatever. Okay. Well, we've learned a lot in the last couple of years about Nexium. We've learned that, there's heart problems with it. We've learned that, you just name it, there's problems, okay? And right up to recently learning that it speeds mental dementia, okay? Now, what we also know, and it's now being called purple crack, okay, is that Nexium is very addictive. Huh. And when you get addicted, it actually causes the same problems that you took it to get rid of, okay? And the fact of the matter is, it's a simple digestive disorder that these people are suffering from, all right? And CBD will step in a small amount and take care of that digestive disorder like that, where there's no need to take or worry about purple crack, okay?
And I actually used to take Nexium. I took it for my asthma because the acid reflux caused asthma attacks for me. Okay. And my physician, my allergist, asthma doctor, had me take it twice a day, every day, for years. And I
that up, it is causing a lot of damage to your body. Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
and then the CBD.
Take it away. Absolutely.
I'm able to take. I actually had an Italian sausage calzone the other day, which I have not been able to do for decades. And I thought, oh, God, this is going to kill me. So wait a minute. So I took some CBD. I was able to sleep, no problem.
Okay, now that's my point exactly. How you got 3 choices in life. Continue the addictive substance, take something that mimics the addiction, or take something that fixes the problem altogether. All right, now, forget opiates for a second. Just think about Nexium.
Yeah.
You yourself are a perfect example. Would you have rather taken another medication that you're going to find out has other effects that are negative down the road, or just eliminate the problem altogether with something that not only fixes the heartburn and the GERD, the reflux, but it also helps your brain. It also helps your inflammation. It also, it does so many other good things for the body. Why just try and mimic that effect to begin with? It doesn't make any sense. So forget what the fear, for the opiate people, because it's real. But forget about that and think about something that's really not all that scary, indigestion.
Yeah.
And you'll see why it makes way more sense, all right, to just eliminate the problem. And as simple as it is to eliminate the problem of indigestion with CBD, it's as simple to eliminate, all right, the underlying causes of the addiction to begin with, okay? Yes. So why not do that?
Yeah.
And that is as simple as that.
And I just say try it. Just try it.
And it is not going to hurt you. You're not jumping out of a plane without a parachute, okay? The CBD isn't meant to take the place of every medication known to mankind, including powerful pain medications, all right? It's meant to work with them as you get off them and then be off them forever.
Yes.
Okay? I don't ever recommend anybody just saying, okay, I've been on this medication forever, I'm going to stop cold turkey tomorrow, okay? Even if it's a reflex medicine. I say cut back slowly, all right, with something in its place. And then you don't, after a period of time, you don't need that at all. And there is no fear. Make it into a mathematical equation, make it into a progressive game, whatever you want to call it. And you'll find out that, yeah, you can cut down from 100% to 90% to 80% to 70% and reward yourself. Just like they do in karate, you go from a white belt to a yellow belt to reward yourself for each step that you get. Just keep taking that secondary thing that helps you. And then all of a sudden, boom, you feel better, you are better, and your future is far better. And then that's the beauty of full spectrum, CBD oil or hemp oil or whatever the nomenclature that you're reading about. Okay.
Right. Well, I appreciate your time. This is such a serious topic, and there's just so much that can be done. And using CBD, I believe, is a great step towards a better life when it comes to so many different prescriptions that you can be on that can create ridiculous side effects. So I appreciate you helping us out with this, and we'll share this with as many people as we can, and hopefully move some people towards healthier lives.
Okay, Dawn, thank you.
Thanks so
Everybody,
much.
take it easy.
7, 6,
Bye-bye.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Thanks again for listening, and be sure to tune in again next Wednesday at cbdtalkpodcast.com. Until then, stay happy and stay healthy.